Okay, now we go to a break, which is actually discussion, and it is Martin Gebser who is supposed to be the host of the discussion. Martin, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hope my microphone is directly working.
Yes.
Hi. Well, thanks, Peter. Thanks, Martin. I actually suggest for the break. Thank you. We made up 10 minutes. Now, in terms, I thought we suggest we take just maybe 5 minutes break for people who need to use something, and then Martin can tell us about his work, while the rest of us, right. Or people can ask questions. So actually, I saw some people still actually putting questions in the Google form. So if there are questions we didn't get to discuss, actually we didn't have this before, but yeah, put in there. I will try to ask each of the speaker to check and get that question answered, and we'll post that. Okay.
Okay.
That sounds okay. All right. So we'll be start at 1:55. That's okay. Or people think it's more comfortable to start with 2. Okay, maybe we would just start with 2. If I think hopefully, 2 my time, of course. Just keep our 20 minutes late. Not push too much. Okay, and some people maybe it's lunchtime, and Martin can have a few more minutes to tell us about his work or discuss anything he's interested, or the rest of people want to discuss.
Google question, is that right?
Okay, so we'll start at 2. Okay, people take a break. But thanks so much, Peter.
Okay.
Peter was the program chair last time. You know how good job he does, better than me. So actually, some people had to leave. I mentioned for the exams or other meetings. So we made up some 20 minutes before by skipping the panel. But we had some informal discussion where they make some comments and ask some questions, and we'll also ask David to join the last panel, because every other speaker, panelist spoke before, except the Huidou, who had to just leave for that time. But he's at the last panel anyway. But people can ask them questions now, all the speakers.
I want to ask Mark a question. Mark, you mentioned for 25 years now, the penny has not dropped, but I know you don't know the solution. If you knew, you would apply the solution today, but what do you think could be missing? Or how do we make the penny fall then?
Well, there might be a kind of a deeper problem, which is related to what actually we see as declarative reading itself. So you can feel that when I look at my logic, I try to find some informal kind of meaning in the informal domain. So informal concepts, informal inductive definitions. I try to link it to a formal logic. But I have strongly the feeling that there are really many people that would just refuse this and would call it as unscientific, because, well, definitions are not a formal concept. Okay. So formal, they are not it's not scientific to talk about non-formal concepts. And my answer would be no, it's the other way around. We are a science of knowledge. Knowledge is in our head. Knowledge is informal. It is actually not scientific, not to talk about what our formal languages mean, what our formal expressions mean. So yeah, I see a strong tendency within even within the field of knowledge representation, and certainly in computational logic, to try to talk. So there's a tendency not to talk about what the intuitive meaning is of logic statements. Now, that is certainly working against me, I would say.
I have a question for Mark, and maybe I'm too practical because Mark worked for 25 years and he had this very impressive system. I used to teach advanced programming course and non-CS undergraduate, just little puzzles. But since last year or so, he has been totally re-implementing this in Python as a new PhD student. How's that going?
Yeah, that is the work that was using SNT solver Z3. So we have become a smaller team. We have a smaller team, but we use a really powerful system for reasoning on numbers, on arithmetic. We decided we had to do that because the people, the companies that were interested in these interactive systems always gave us problems in which arithmetic played an important role, and we are not able to build such complex solvers that could also be able to deal with arithmetic. So Z3 turned out to offer quite some powerful support for reasoning on arithmetic. So what we then implemented was, for example, Z3 doesn't support inductive definitions or aggregates, and it was implemented by PhD students, Pierre Carbonell especially. We implemented reduction grounding procedures that would reduce these expressive language constructs to a format of Z3. So I think it really allowed us to solve problems that for certain companies that we could not solve with IDP3, and probably that no other logic programming system could solve, probably. So we are very happy with the results. There are other parts on which we got weaker. So the new system is weaker actually on inductive definitions. It's not as fast to reason about inductive definitions. But we trained it for numerical applications.
Thank you.
I wonder if, would you allow me to both agree with Mark and suggest that he go even further? I think that one of the problems is that we have this concentration on STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and we've neglected the non-STEM subjects and what they can contribute to our subjects. I'm not suggesting that we look at fluffy psychology, but if you look at linguistics, if you look at law, if you look at some of the other areas of non-STEM subjects, that they have a lot to contribute to, future directions for computing. I mean, you could say that they're informal, and it's to that extent that I would completely support Mark. We don't take these subjects seriously because they're not STEM, but they have more to tell us about what the future of computing might look like than these very rigid, more mathematical approaches might do at the moment. So, I think I'm basically supporting Mark here. So I'll put my hand down.
Bob's concluding slides were so impressive. No more assignment statements.
Oh, horrible, horrible. I mean,
No,
they
it's
really,
ver-
I mean, look at children being taught to think like machines. What damage are we doing to children?
Oh boy, and can I add a little point to that? It's even worse, Bob, than one might think if you look at what is coming with all the different AI-based tools like ChatGPT, where basically it pretends to do human style writing of small essays. So you don't even have to write small essays anymore. You don't have to think. The perfect little citizen robots don't even have to think anymore. I mean, it's a very dangerous trend, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter already saying in her class that some students were discussing they did the essay because they're applying for college, right? A lot of essay, they're using it.
Well, we're at 2 o'clock. Maybe we should begin again if we're gonna
Oh,
We're gonna
thank you.
have a little bit of time at the end for some discussion, which I'm hoping
Exactly.
for.
Yeah.